Hello everyone. I welcome you all to our Creator Tech Connect series. All right. So, I hope everyone has joined our session. And first of all, thank you everyone for joining us today's session. So, I once again welcome you all to our Creator Tech Connect series for the month of March. I hope many of you are already familiar with what is Creator Tech Connect series. But in today's session, if we have any newcomers, then here is a quick introduction about Creator Tech Connect series. So, Creator Tech Connect series is a month-on-month series where we will be discussing about different technical concepts that we have in Zoho Creator platform, right? So, for this month, for this March month, we have decided to cover the concept called. All right. So for the month of March, we have decided and we have come up with a topic on different UI and UX customization that you can implement in your Zoho Creator application, right? So basically, in today's session, we will be covering the different UI and UX customization that you can do inside your application, right? So before we get started, I would like to introduce myself. So I'm Niveta and I'll be the trainer for this session, and along with that we have few housekeeping rules that needs to be followed throughout the session. So all the attendees will be on mute. If you guys have any questions in between the session, you will have the question tab within the platform. You can use the question tab to post all of your queries, and we have our dedicated co-trainer who will be more than happy to answer all your questions, right? And if you would like to rewatch this particular session again, we will be sending the recording to all the registrants post the session, which means if you have registered for this session, we will be sending the recording of the session to your registered email address, right? And in between the session, we will also be conducting few polls and survey. So we would like each and every one of you to actively participate in those polls and survey, right? So before we understand the agenda for today's session, let me quickly turn off my video for a better screen visibility. Yeah. So let's talk about the agenda for our session. So the first topic that we will be covering is going to be the different advanced UI and UX customization that we are going to perform within an application, right? And followed by that, we will be understanding the different portal customizations that you can do, portal page customization that you can do, and apart from that, we will also be understanding the progressive web apps, how you can use your Zoho Creator application in your mobile browser. So that is something we will be understanding in this particular topic. And followed by that, we will also understand the extended use cases. What are all the different extended use cases that you can go ahead and create? And at the end of the session, I'll be talking about the new release feature, which we are planning to release in the first half of this particular year, right? So this is pretty much about the agenda. So I hope this is clear to everyone. Now let's get started by understanding what are all the advanced UI and customization that we are going to look into our today's session, right? So the use case that we have taken for today's session is the procurement application. So this procurement application is nothing but, I hope many of you already know what is a procurement application. So this particular application will helps us in procuring the different raw materials from vendors, and requesting the quotation from the vendors, and also you will be storing your raw materials, you'll be receiving the grn notes. All that will be seamlessly maintained within this application. So that is the main purpose of the application. So talking about the application flow, there will be internal employees in an organization, right? So the internal employees will be requesting for an item. Okay, now let me give you an example. So let's take the manufacturing industry as a use case. So in a manufacturing industry, whenever a production is going to take place, the employee will be assigned to the different production process, right? So in this scenario, the employee will be checking for the raw materials to start the production, right? So if the raw materials are in stock, the production will takes place. If the raw materials are not in stock, then the employee will be requesting for the respective item, right? So that's when the procurement process start. So when the employee requests the item, the manager and the finance team will approve the request, right? So they will be checking the request, and then they'll be approving the request. And once post the approval, the procurer. So here the procurer is nothing but who will be the mediator, or who will be the intermediate between the clients and the different vendors, right? So this procurer will be handling all the different purchase orders, and what are all the different materials that you are receiving from the vendors. All that will be maintained by the procurer, right? So what this procurer will do, initially he will be requesting for the quotation from the different vendors. So basically there will be different vendors who will be supplying the raw materials, right? So this procurer will request for the quotation, and the vendor the multiple vendors will be sending their quotation for a respective product. So once you receive the quotation, you will compare and select the quotation, right? So whichever suits your business requirement, you will be choosing that particular quotation, and it will be approved by the finance team. So finance team will check all the payment related information. If that suits the business requirement and business standards, the finance team will approve it. And once the approval is done by the finance team, the purchase order will be raised by the procurer, right? So once the purchase order is raised to the vendor will be packing and dispatching your order. And once it is dispatched, on delivering, you will have the GRN notes, which is the goods received notes. So here is where you will be checking whether you have received all the respective materials, and also you'll be checking the quality of the material. If there is any damage within the material that you have received, you will then send that particular material again to the vendor, and the vendor will redispatch, and they will be sending the goods again to our warehouse, right? So this is something, that process will take place under the GRN. And then request payment details. So now once the goods are received, the procurer will be requesting the payment to the finance team, where the payment needs to be done for the vendor, right? So he will be requesting the payment, and the payment details will be shared to the finance team, and the finance team will settle up the payment for the vendor, right? So this is the complete application flow, right? Now if you could see in this particular application, we could see there are different levels of approval is taking place, right? So once the employee raises a request, it will be approved by the manager or finance, and once you select the quotation, again it will be approved by the finance team. So like this, there are several approval flows are written within this application, right? And in today's session, in this particular application, we are going to customize the approval we are going to customize the approval management part, right? So here you could see this is the UI that we have created. So this UI will navigate the purchasing with the certainty and utilize the role based approvals for the streamlined decision. So since the procurement process needs multiple or different levels or different approval process, we have created a UI where we can get to see the complete flow of the approval process. So starting with the level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, all these different types of approval can be viewed in a flowchart manner, right? So if you imagine in the procurement process, it is obviously it's going to be a very tedious process if you do all the approvals manually, right? In order to streamline this, we have implemented this particular process within our Zoho Creator platform. And again to give a better visual representation to the users, we have created this flowchart for the approval process. Now, this is one use case that we are going to discuss. Apart from this, we will also be discussing about the another process, which is request approval. So once our employee is requesting for a particular item, that needs to be approved by a certain users. For example, it can be approved by a manager, or it can be even approved by the finance team, right? So when the manager approves the request, a pop-up will be shown with what is the request ID, and what is the requested date, and what is the project, and what is the product that they have chosen along with the order total. So this is a pop-up that a manager receives for a quick view on what is the exact request that the employee has raised, right? Now if you could see here, these set of information and these information are popped up with the help of notes field that we have in our field palette, right? So with the help of notes field, we are just dynamically fetching the information from the different forms, and we are showing it in the notes field itself. And this fetching concept is something that we have achieved with the help of Deluge. And whatever the design and whatever the tables that you would like to create within the notes field, that are implemented with the help of HTML concept, right? So this is another use case that we will be showcasing in today's session, right? Now let me take you to the live demonstration, and I'll give you a quick code walkthrough of the I mean, I'll be giving you a quick code walkthrough of whatever the logic that we have used to build this particular UI customizations, right? So let me take you to the platform now. So this is the application that I was talking, which is the procurement application. So from here, I'll access the application in the live mode, and I'll quickly give you a walkthrough of the application. So the first thing that you will be landing is the procurement dashboard. So like this, we have different dashboards like the finance dashboard, VMS dashboard. Several dashboards are available, right? So in the procurement dashboard, you will have different sort of informations like the pending procurement, ongoing procurement, moved to purchase, and a completed purchase, total procurement request. All those information can be viewed, and again this particular UI is built with the help of page component, right? So again, this is a UI customization, right? So here you could see expense chart and the order information, the total projects that they have, the total vendors that they are dealing with, and the total products. Along with that, the recent requests that a particular employee raises, right? Along with that, you will get to see their status, at what status this particular request is in, right? And this will basically gives you all the recent request. It will fetch and it will show that in the in this particular um, in this particular UI, right? And below that, you have the finance dashboard and the VMS dashboard. Now, apart from this, you have something called approvals. So this is a separate module. So within this module is specifically for the admin or the employee or the finance team, right? Because here is where all the different types of approval will take place. So starting, you have different set of the tabs. One is for the employee request, one is for the procurement request, and the another one is the purchase order. And then we have the payment related information, right? So, and if you could see here, this UI is again is a customization that we have done with the help of page component. So on click of each tab, different sort of information will be loaded over here, right? So for the purchase order, again you could see the different set of information, and again for the payment you could see the different sort of information. So if you just go and check for the waiting for payment, you will get a different data, right? So this is one type where you can get to see the different requests that has been raised. Now, and within this particular UI, the manager or the any other whoever the user who is going to approve a particular request, they can go ahead and click on this approve, or they can reject the request. So on clicking of this approve, they will receive a pop-up, and this is the pop-up that I was explaining. So with the help of notes field, we are fetching the information and dynamically displaying the data, right? So you can see the request ID, the request date, project. If the manager would like to add any comments to this request, that can be added over here, right? These part comes under the approval. Moving to the next, we have the request. So under the request, you can go, here is the place where you will be requesting for a particular materials or particular raw materials, right? So on clicking of this new request button, this will take you to the form where you will choose the respective project, in which project that you are working, and the warehouse, in which warehouse that you are that this particular project is going to happen, and expected price, the shipping address, the expected date, the additional details, and the reference document. So you will be raising a new request, right? So once a new request is raised, those requests will be shown here. I'll just reload this page. Okay. So you could see by default you will have all the requests that is raised, and along with that you could see the different sort of informations and the status, whether it is approved, whether the request is approved, and whether it is in progress. All those information can be viewed here. And apart from this, on clicking of this particular single record, you will be taken to another UI where you will get the total request summary. The overall request summary detail will be visible here. So starting with requested, whether it is approved, quote received, purchase, completion, all these different steps will be tracked within this particular page, right? And if you have added the order information, those information will be visible here. And below that, in between each and every stages that you could see here, there will be several transitions. So that is something we have mentioned it under the purchase order timeline. So you could see who has requested, which user has requested this particular item, and how and who approved it, and who initiated the RFQ. So like this you will get to see the different transition in between these stages, right? So again, this is another customization that we done with the help of page component, right? Now going to the next part, which is the procurement part. So in the procurement, you will see the different procurements, like starting with any open request, any vendor negotiation, move to purchase, all procurement, and along with that, you will get to see the different sort of panels that holds different type of informations, like pending procurements, ongoing procurements, move to purchase, completed, all those sort of information. And with this you could also see two custom button. Now if I click on this purchase history, it will show me the complete purchase history of that particular request, which is the request ID is PR60. So whatever the purchase, whatever the item that you have requested, those information will be visible here, right? And if you are about to request for the quotation to the vendor, you can click on this request quotation, and you can choose the expected date. The products will be automatically populated, and in the vendor type, based on your preference, you can choose the vendors. So either you can go with all vendors, or selected vendors, top rated, or vendors with proposal. When I choose the all vendors, whoever the vendor that you are dealing with, all those vendor will be selected, and the quotation will be requested with you'll be requesting the quotation with different with all the vendors. Whereas if you like to choose a particular vendor, you can choose the select vendor, and here whoever the vendor that you have added into your system, they will be populated here. From here you can just choose a respective vendors, right? Only these vendors will receive the notification, and they will be sending you the quotation, right? So like this you can go ahead and choose the vendor from here, right? So this is again made up of a custom action within this UI, right? And apart from this, you have the vendor negotiation, and if a particular order has moved to the purchase order, that information will be visible here. And the all procurements, so overall whatever the procurement request that you have raised, those information will be visible. Then here comes the orders, where this is the place you will be requesting for a particular materials, right? So whenever you order particular materials, those information will be visible here, and it will also gives you a detailed view of from which project and which vendor, the net total shipping to, and what is the status. Like this, if you place an order starting with the open orders, it again, if it is dispatched orders, again if it is a redispatched order, if you have received the order, and all orders, all these information can be tracked into one single UI. Then we have products. So in the products, whatever the products that you have within your warehouse, those information can be added over here. Then we have the projects. So here is where if you are working on a particular project, so for example, let's say if you're working on the manufacturing project, you will be adding the project budget, the spent amount, the remaining amount, the complete whether it is completed or it is ongoing or if it is pending, those information can be viewed here. So for example, take the manufacturing industry. So you will be working on different sort of products, you will be producing different products, right? So under one project you will be producing different sort of projects in the products, right? So those information can be tracked here. And then you have the screening, and you have the RFP, which is nothing but the request for proposal. So here you can just click on this proposal summary, and you could see the vendors a detail like their name, their proposal, the status, whether they have signed in the contract, whether it is approved, and if they have any RFP document that can be viewed here. And if you since you will be since you will be handling different vendors, you will also be contract I mean the you will also get the vendors in the contract basis, right? Those can be added over here. If the contract is about to end, they can also if the vendors are interested, they can also renew the contract from here. If I click on this renew button, this will gives me the pop-up where I can just click on the renewal effective date, renewal end date, contract template, and a agreement will be sent to the vendor via email. Right. So this is one particular UI that we have created. And then comes the inventory. Obviously, since you are procuring a lot of materials from different vendors, you need to store them in a particular warehouse, right? So those information can be added into the inventory module. So if you could see, there are multiple warehouse. You can click on the new warehouse, you can add a new warehouse, and you can add the products to that particular warehouse. And then you have setup, where you can set up your vendor. Here you will add your vendor information, and you can also add their details, like add their status, whether they are active vendor, whether they are inactive. That can be added. Below that you have the products, where you have the product master. So all the products that you have will be listed over here, and the procurer's product approval and the vendor's product approval, all those information can be viewed here. Apart from that, if you have any internal users, if you would like to give any internal if you would like to give access to your internal users, that users can be added over here with the different location, the departments, and to which particular a manager they are reporting to, and under what role they are working, and the status of that particular user, and the approval status. So in under the approval status, so this is the UI that we are going to focus in today's session. So under the approval setup, you have system and the custom, right? When I talk about the system, in the system you will have all the predefined approval process. So there are three different template that you could see here, which is purchase request, purchase order, and the payment. So for these three different templates, there will be a certain approval process. So if you would like to go with the system defined approval process, you can just click on a particular template, and from here you can just choose the number of levels. Approval start with level, and if that particular request if that particular request should be approved by a finance team, on checking this particular box, it will also move to the finance team's approval, right? Like this, you will have all the predefined values over here, and you can click on the confirm, it will save. So this is about the system defined approval process. Now, what if you would like to create your own custom approval workflow or custom approval process? So in order to achieve that particular that particular process, we have brought in this custom, right? So in the custom, you can add your own template, and you can create your own approval process. Now, before getting into a detailed demonstration on this particular part, let me also quickly tell you the different models that we have here. So we have the preferences, and also we have the vendor preferences. So you can set up your organization profile, like the preference and other informations. So the general informations can be added, the taxes, rating, email templates, ID setup, integration if there is any, categories, brand, department, shipping type, location, and the organization. So these information can be set up. And if there is any if the vendor has if you want to set particular preferences for the vendor, that can also be done. So here you have the contract templates, the rating mechanism, risk assessment, risk level, screening, document types. Those information can be maintained under the vendor preferences, right? So these are the rest of the two modules that I have covered now. Now let me go back to the approval setup. Yeah. So within this approval system setup, as I mentioned, there is going to be two different setup. Now let me go to the custom, and on clicking of a particular template which I have already created, let me click on this. If I click on this, I'll get a detailed visual representation of the approval flow that I have created. So the main purpose of creating this UI is, it is the custom UI which is designed to give users a visual representation of an approval workflow. And also there might be I mean you can also create a plain list or a table. So I mean that doesn't give you a detailed understanding of the approval process. Instead of creating those plain list and a table, this particular flow chart, this style UI user interface will help the users understand how approval progress through different stages. By just creating this workflow, it will show me what is the different approval stages that what are the different approval stages that this particular process is going to follow, right? So basically it is a visual representation for the users, right? Now let me go to the edit mode, and let me give you a quick demonstration of the code that we have used to build this particular UI, right? Now I'll just go to the edit mode. Before that, I'll duplicate this tab, and I'll go to the edit mode. Yes, I'll click on the edit, and you could see here it is done within the page builder. So I'll click on the open page builder, and we have used the HTML snippet. So I'll click on the configure. So this is the backend code that we have used to create this particular UI, right? Now let me quickly explain you. So in the initial part, so if you could, wherever you see this particular syntax or this particular if you see this particular syntax, which is the angular and the percentage, so that's where you are defining that. That's when you are defining that you are using a deluge script over here. So you are telling your system that this is where I'm creating my deluge script, right? So here you could see I have opened my angular and the percentage tag, and inside this I have used my deluge script. So the first step is, here you could see page link name, right? So the page link name is the approval setup. So this is a string variable page link name, which is to set up the approval setup. So this is basically the page name. So here you could see this is the page name. So that is something I have stored it within the page link name string variable. Followed by that, you have something called back URL. So this back URL is nothing but it constructs a back URL based on the tab parameter. So I have created a parameter. Let me quickly show you. I'll just go to the duplicate, and over here I have created my page variable called tab, and the data type is text. So this is something that I'm calling over here and inside the back URL. So I'm telling, if if the input dot tab is empty, then it should check if the tab input parameter is empty, right? If it is not empty, it adds the tab which is equal to the whatever the tab that you are choosing to the URL. If it is, if for example, if you are not choosing, these are all the different tabs, right? Purchase request, purchase order, and the payment. So on clicking of this, the data should be passed, the parameter should be passed via the URL, right? If none of the tabs are if none of the tabs are chosen, if the none of the tabs are selected, then it uses the base page URL, which is the main URL. So if you could see here, this is the main URL. it will take you, if it will shows this particular URL. So that is something I have mentioned it with my back URL variable. And below that, I am just fetching the employee details. So so here it basically fetches the employee details from the new user form, where we are checking if the email ID matches the logged in users Zoho mail ID, which is the logged in users mail ID. So this process is taking place because this particular approval setup can be viewed only by the admin. So we are just fetching the employee details over here. And below that, you have three different variables created, and these three different variables is created to call the function that you already created within this application. So here you have something called common, right? So common is a variable which is equal to this app. This app is a function which will help you to call the function, custom function that you have created within this application. So this is my namespace localization, and this is my function name, right? And below that, again, another localization and the detail view that I have created. So these three are the different custom function that I'm calling it within this particular within this particular script, right? So I'll quickly show you these three different functions that I have created, and I'll also explain the purpose of creating those three functions. So let me go to the workflow. I'll go to the functions. In the functions, I have the localization. So under the localization, I have my different functions created. So I mean, the localization is the namespace, and inside this, I have my functions created. So in the functions, the first function that we saw is the common, right? So if I click on this common, I'll get to see. So basically what we have done here is, so this particular application is going to be a multilingual application, which means whenever, if you would like to translate this application to any other language, that's when you're going to use the localization function, right? So right now I have used I'm just telling the system that if the application language is Arabic, then all these different sort of keywords, so these are the different keywords that I have within my application. So these different keywords should be translated to Arabic. The translated word, I have also defined it over here, right? If it is not, if it is not Arabic, then if it is not Arabic, then it should shows the default language, which is the English, right? So over here we are defining the language selection based on the users, whoever is accessing this application, the users browser language. So whatever the browser language that they have chosen, based on that this function will work, right? If their browser is by default it is chosen as English, then all the application will be shown in the English. Whereas if it is chosen as, if their browser history is chosen as Arabic, then the application information will be shown in the Arabic, right? So this is one sort of localization that we have done. And along with that, we have also created one more localization for the page. So whatever information that you see within the page component, if you would like to translate them, again we have created another function where I have just given all the keywords along with the translated words, right? So basically this is purely for the localization purpose. And apart from this, we also have the detail view. So detail view is nothing but when I click on a particular template, I'll be seeing a detail view like this, right? So this detail view has different sort of information displaying, right? If I would like to translate this to another language, that's when I have used my another function called detail view. So if I click on here again, so whatever the information that I'm seeing over here, these information keywords I have given here. So this is the system default function. So with the help of this function, I have just defined my translated words or translated the translated words over here, right? And by default I'll also have the English language, right? So that's the concept on creating these three different steps. And here again we are telling app language is equal to this app dot localization language. So this is nothing but, again, whenever this will checks what is the browser language for the user, and based on that it will display the data, right? And then here you are getting the login profile, so where you are just verifying, where another function is created called get logged in profile. So this particular this particular function will retrieves all the logged in user profile information. And below that we have the styling. So this styling is nothing but, this is a standard HTML style tag which is used to apply CSS style to the page that we see it over here, right? So we have used the again, this styling is created as a function, and with the help of this app function we have called the respective custom function. And below that we have created an if condition where I'm telling, if this app, and I've called the function which is equal to administrator, if the application is accessed by the administrator, then I would like to display the pricing and the subscription information to the administrator. So basically, if you could see here, if I'm in the admin view, if I'm accessing this application in the admin view, I'll get to see the subscription over here, right? So that is something I'm displaying, that is something I'm mentioning it over here. So if it is not required, you can ignore this particular step, right? And below that we are also telling, we are also using the if condition, and again we are using another custom function called is onboard completed. If the onboard of a particular user is completed, then from all projects I would like to get the, from the new projects form that I have created, where I'll have all of my project information. So so what exactly we are doing here is, if the user is onboarded successfully, then the script is going to execute, and within the script I'm also going to get the new project information detail from my new project form data. And along with that I'm also getting the currency. I'm setting up the currency as the dollar, right? And below that, here again we have used the if condition, and in the if condition I'm saying if input dot tab. So here the input dot tab is nothing but the parameter that we have created, which means the page variable that we have created. If the user is choosing the respective tab, which is the custom tab, let me go back here. So let's say I am the user, and when I click on this particular custom tab in the URL, you could see tab is equal to custom. So that is something I'm giving it with the if condition. If the customer chooses the custom tag, and if the customer chooses the action as in the detail view, then I'm getting all the requester details, which means I'm choosing the custom, and in the custom if I choose the detail view, and in the detail view I have I'll have a filter option over here. Let me quickly show you that. It's getting loaded. So when I choose this custom and when I go with the detail view, over here I have my requester, right? So here I'm saying, so here I'm saying, I'm ensuring that the input dot requester is not empty, right? And the purpose of doing this is, we are ensuring that an approval process can be fetched only if the requesters are not empty. And within this condition we have used the variable called template, and we are fetching the approval template. So approval template is in another form. From the approval template I'm fetching, I've given the criteria, which is id is equal to input dot rec id. So this is nothing but, again we have a separate approval template form. Again I'll show that. Yes, so this is my all approval record. So basically whatever, so here you could see the templates, right? So these are all the different templates. So within my custom, these are all the different templates. So these templates are something that we also have a form to add those templates, right? So we are checking, we have just given the criteria here as we have just given the criteria as if the id matches dot input dot rec id, then the next process is I'm also getting the approval steps. So the approval steps are nothing but when I click on this particular template, we are looking into a different approval steps, right? And within these approval steps, I'm able to see different sort of information, right? So these information that these are the information that again I'm fetching it from a particular form called approval step. So I'll also show you that. Yes. So to display these sort of information, I already stored these information within my I also have a form where I'll have all these sort of information, like starting with the approval template, the module, the level name, approval for role, all this information that I'm displaying it within this particular UI, right? So for this, I have created a variable name called approval flows, and this approval flow is equal to we have used the approval step, the form name, and inside the form, inside this particular criteria, I've given if the approval template is equal to whatever that whatever the user is inputting in the dashboard, and we have used the and operator. Again, we have created another criteria if the module is equal to whatever the module that the user has chosen, and approval for role in input dot requester, and again status if the status is equal to null or if the status is active. So if these criteria is matches and if these criteria are satisfied, then sort the fetch data by the sequence order. So this sequence order is nothing but I have a separate field over here called the sequence order. So based on the sequence order, this will fetch me the data, right? Now, so within these particular form, I'll have different sort of information, different sort of datas like the level name, approval. Within these, I would like to get or I would like to fetch only a particular data. So for example, the level name, the approval for role, so only certain data I would like to fetch. So in order to do so, again I have just created a list, and the list I'm storing this list into a variable called flows list. So after this, I've created the for each statement. So here the flow is my loop variable, and the approval flows where I fetched all the approval step and stored it into this approval flows variable, right? So I've used them, and with this, inside this again I've used the add function where I have created a map. So this is nothing but within this UI I'll have let me show you. When I go to the edit mode, I'll have different set of field over here, right? So what I'm doing, I'm fetching the information and I'm displaying it with I'm just mapping those data with this particular field that I have it over here. So yeah, so if you could see here, I've used the add for using the list I have used the add, and by using the add function I have just mapped the level name into level name, which is fetching from the approval flows. Again, approver role, approver type, approval for role, and the approver user, previous sequence number, price from, price to, is last, and is last step. All these information that I'm fetching it and I'm mapping it over here, right? And below that you have the stylings again. So this styling is nothing but here I'm actually highlighting the tabs. The tabs are nothing but when I go to the custom, here whenever I choose a particular template, the tabs are getting highlighted, right? So that is something I have achieved over here. So here again it comes again, this is the custom function that I have written, and over here I have defined the horizontal tab. So this is the CSS name. So you could see by using this particular CSS, I'm just doing the different sort of highlightings over here. And apart from this, if you scroll down below, over here So here is where you will have the different HTML tags. So this HTML tags will have the different the let me quickly show you. So these header name, and as well as if you just click on this particular template, you will have over here you have this icons, right, to go back. So these are all something that I've defined it within my HTML script over here. So the next comes the another part where we have used the if condition, and this approval flows is the variable name that I have created to store all of my where I have stored all of my approval step information data, right? So I'm using that variable and I'm using it as a count, and if the approval count is greater than 0, then I would like to display this particular button called add step. So let me go here. Let me quickly add a new template. I'll say, and the project, let's keep it as manufacturing, and I'll submit this, right? Once I create a new approval, once I create a new approval template, you will be landing into the next page, which is the purchase request, purchase order, and the payment. These are the different tabs. And below this, you can see a image and the data, and below that you have the add step, right? So if there is no approval creator, this is how the UI looks like. Whereas if there is if you have already created a flow, then by checking if the flows are created, by checking this, the add step will be created over here. So that is something I have mentioned it over here. So basically, if you haven't created any flow, the add step will be displayed here. If the flows are created, then the add step will be, the button will be displayed on top. So that is, I have mentioned it over here, right? And below that you have the different tabs, right? So those tabs are something that I have given that I have gave within my anchor tag. So that comes under the HTML. So you could see the purchase request, the purchase order, and the payment. So these are the three different tabs that I'll be seeing within each of the template that I have created, right? And again, you could see these are all the LI. So I hope many of you know what is LI is. So LI is basically will helps you in providing the content within the structure, right? And below this we also have another condition created, which is if approval flows dot count is greater than 0, then I'm initializing the counters where I'm telling I is equal to 0, counter is equal to 1, and here for each item in flow list. So this is nothing but, this is the loop variable, and the flow list is nothing but the variable where we have created to store all of the list items. So if you go here, over here, so you have stored these information into the flows list variable, right? So that is something I'm calling it over here, right? So basically the I over here is used as an index tracker for the flow list, since the list since the list works in an ordered manner and it is based on the index value. So we have used this I as the index tracker, and the counter is nothing but the counter tracks the odd and even iteration to determine the zigzag structure, which is nothing but, you could see a zigzag structure, right? So we have used the counter to determine that particular structure. And below that we have used this for each item in flow list, and this basically iterates through all the approval steps in the flow list that you have created. And here again we have used the if counter is odd. So we are telling if the counter is odd, it means we are starting a new zigzag row, right? If it has any odd number, then it's going to start a new zigzag row, and the zigzag row will contain either one or two approval card element, which is nothing but, so if if the counter is in the odd number, then it will create another flow, whereas if it is even number, so if you could see, if the counter is odd, it means you need to start a new zigzag row. So here you can see the counter is odd, so it is starting a new zigzag row. So this is something we are mentioning it over here, right? And below that, if the counter is greater than 1, if it is greater than 1, the I that you have created over here, the I is incremented to move to the next approval step, right? And once that is done, you have the second Li index. So this second Li index is to set I plus 1 to track the next item in the list. So whatever the list, whatever the item that you have it in your list, it will track the next item in the list, right? So in order to display all of these information, we are creating the UL. So UL is nothing but it serves as a structural container, right? So here I have created one UL and there is another UL, and at the end we have another UL. So basically, if you go here, if you have the odd numbers, so this particular is going to be one UL. So if you have these are the two Li, and within this two Li, this one whole part is going to be the UL. And below that you will have another, if it is an odd number, then it's going to be have one Li with one UL, right? So that is something I have defined it over here. So basically you can go with this method or whatever method that suits your logical way, you can go with that, right? So that is something we have done it within the UL. And below that, over here, yeah, so here we are also mentioning how it should be ordered. So here you can see the last rec dot sequence order. So basically by using the sequence order, we are creating this flow. And then if there is if there is no if there is no if there is no approval is created, then again we have another else condition where it states where it goes to the normal page, which is the action. If the user chooses the custom and it is in the detail view, then it will shows the employee requester, and it will stays in the same window, which means if I just go back and if I just click on the one that I've created, I think this is the one. So if there is no flow created, this is how it's going to be, and the requester is going to be employee. So that is something I have mentioned it with my last else condition, right? So this is the complete process behind to create this particular UI, right? So if you could see, there are multiple logics, there are the different HTML and CSS that we have used to create this UI customization. Now let me just choose this one. Yeah, so basically like this it will create a complete flow, right? So that is something you have mentioned it at the end of your script. So similarly, the same is going to followed for the system as well. So the rest of the code is specifically for the system approval management. So if you could see here, this is where it is starting for the system. So whatever the process that you have followed to create the custom solution, the custom workflow management, that can be followed for the system as well, right? So this is something that I would like to show for the approval management process, right? So I hope this is pretty much clear to you all. So if you guys have any questions, you can drop them in the question tab. We will be answering, right? Now, apart from this, we will also understand the other component, which is the notes field. So I'll just go to the request. I'll just go to the approvals. So in the approvals, right now I'm into the employee request. So by just clicking on this approve, I'll get this particular UI, right? Which is the request approval. I'll get all these sort of information. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we have used the note fields to display the dynamic contents over here. So let me take you to the script again. This time I'll go for the another script that we have used to create this particular pop-up. So this is the backend code that we have used to create this particular UI, right? So basically, so this function, this will helps you with you will be creating different sort of params, the arguments you'll be passing, which is the request ID, the approval, and the string, the action. And then you will create an empty variable where you will have the if condition for different process, like the request, procurement, and all those. So this is nothing but, over here you could see the different tabs, like employee, procurement, purchase, or so that is something you have mentioned it over here, right? If the approval is equal to request, then the status value should be waiting for manager approval, waiting for user approval, and waiting for procurer approval. So the status is something, if I go here, I'll get to see the status, right? So these are the status that I'm mentioning over here. So like this, I have just used the different HTML. So here, again, here I have just created an empty HTML. Yeah. So within this, whenever I generate any content, those content will be added to this HTML that I have created. So along with that, we have used several if condition, and here you have used if the approval is equal to procurement, then I would like to fetch and show these informations like the budget format, the remaining balance format, the project map, which is nothing but, if I just approve this procurement request, I'll get to see the different sort of information for the procurement request. Let me quickly show you that. Let me refresh. Yeah. So if I just click on this approve, this will show me the different sort of information like the ID, request date, project, products, all those, right? Whereas if I just go to the let's say I'll just go to the payment. Sorry, I'll just go to the purchase order, maybe status. Let's say the status is waiting for finance approval. So by clicking on this approve, not this. So by clicking on this approve, so here I'll get to see different sort of information based on the status, right? So if it is for waiting for the finance team approval, I'll see the request date, the project name, the project budget, the remaining amount, and the products chosen. And here, once PO is approved, it will reflect in project spent amount, some kind of help text, and the note. All this information will be fetched and show if the status is changed to waiting for finance approval. So all these steps are added to this script, right? So and below that, you could see here is where we have used the notes field, and in the notes field we are adding all the different sort of, whatever the different sort of information that we are fetching, we are adding it to the notes field, right? So this is again how we have built this particular UI, this particular pop-up UI, right? So this is all that I would like to show for the UI and UX customization that you can do within your Creator platform. So not only this, you can go ahead and perform different sort of customization within your Creator application. Now let's discuss about the few of the extended use cases. So within the same application, we have something called order tracking. So within this order tracking, whenever an order is raised, you will see, you can go ahead and see a detailed tracking in which particular stage the order is in. So I hope this is something that I've showed in the session as well. And apart from this, you also have another interesting UI which is created for the vendor price comparison. So this UI is nothing but you will be requesting a quotation with different vendors, right? So the each and every vendors will have a separate quotation with different amount, right? So those comparison can be happen within this UI. So this is something I'll show it in the live demonstration now. And apart from this, we also have another UI creator for the purchase order, where one side I'll be seeing all my purchase order information, and on the other side the finance team is going to be the approver for the purchase order. So the finance team will add the reference number, the billing address, the advance amount, the transaction type, and the transaction number. So these information will be added simultaneously along with the purchase order view, right? So I'll show you this in the live demo now. First, let me show you the order tracking. So I'll go to the request, and on clicking of a particular request, this will take me to another UI where I'll get to track my orders, right? Starting with requested, approved, quote received, purchase, completion, along with the procurement information and the timelines. So this is one sort of UI customization that you can done with the help of your page component in Creator. And apart from this, if I go to the procurement, in the procurement under the vendor negotiation, so if I just click on the procurement summary, let me choose here. So on that particular request, if you have chosen, if you have chosen multiple vendors, so and if you have received the quotation from the vendors, that will be visible over here. Yeah. So you could see in this particular procurement request, there are two different vendors who have sent their quotation, which is Eco Green Supplies and the Future Electronics. And within this procurement, we are procuring the laptop. Right now, here you can see the Future Electronics is offering the laptop for 40,000, and the Eco Green Supply is offering the laptop for 20,000. Right, so the you can check the difference. Right, so easily you can see that. And this particular customization will help you in highlighting the cheaper amount, and along with that how much you will save, and the ratings, the rank of the vendors. All these sort of information will be all these sort of information can be viewed within this UI. And if you just click on this particular arrow, you will see a detailed view starting with the discount, the taxes, shipping charge, the shipping term, estimated delivery time, the number of items quoted. A detailed view will be shown. And here, if you click on this best price, by clicking on this, you will be choosing the automatically it will choose the best price from the vendor quotation, right? So it's interesting, right? You can easily, without even going and manually comparing the quotation, this particular process will automate, and it will easily gives you the comparison between the vendor quotation, right? So this is one UI that you can do for the customizations. And apart from this, we have the purchase order. So for the purchase order, again I'll go to the request, approvals, and in the approvals, if I go to the purchase order, so if I just click on this approve, yeah, over here I'll see my purchase order details, and over here I'll see my project name, project budget, and remaining balance. These sort of information will be visible. Below that, I can give my reference number, the billing address, the advance amount if I'm paying anything, and if there is any attachment that we have received, the comments, terms and condition, and the approver signature, right? So all these can be maintained within one single UI. So this is another customization that we have done within the page component. Right? So basically the whole application has different sort of UI customization, right? So this is all I would like to show for the advanced UI and UX customization part. Now, apart from this, we have furthermore topics, which is the portal page customization. So I hope many of you already know what is portal, right? So portal is nothing but whenever you are giving access to any external users, if you're giving application access to any external users, that's when you will create a portal. And that portal is going to be dedicatedly created for that user and with different set of permissions. right? So you will define the permission set. Along with that, you will create a portal for your external user. So for example, in this procurement, the vendor are the external user, right? So what I'll be doing, I'll be creating a portal with a defined permission set. And so let's say I'm just giving access for the vendor to access only the product masters. So on that case, I'll be defining that in the permission set, and when the vendor logs in, he will receive, he can get to see only that particular form in the portal, right? So that is something I can achieve with the help of portal. Now, when the vendor is logging into the portal, they will have different sort of logins. One is going to be, if he is the if he is accessing for the first time, he will be signing up. Whereas if he is accessing, if he have already logged in, he will be using the sign in page. And whereas if he is trying to reset his password, there will be a reset password page, right? So these three different page customization can be done within the portal page customization. So here are the three different pages: sign up, sign in, and the reset password, right? So this is something you can go ahead and customize inside your portal under the page customization. So we have already done a particular customization, so I'll showcase that in this particular session. And along with the portal page customization, we will also be learning about the progressive web apps. So the progressive web apps are nothing but, it will gives you a native app like experience on your mobile browser, right? So let's say you have created your application in the creator platform, and you would like to use them in your mobile browser without even installing the application from the app store, right? App store or even the play store. So that's when the progressive web apps comes into the picture. When the progressive web app is active for the application, you can go ahead and use them in your mobile browser. And also by default, whatever the application that you create within your creator platform, you can easily access them in the web browser, which is the mobile browser as well, right? So talking about the benefits for the user and app owners by using this progressive web apps. So for the users, it will give the a seamless experience without installing without installing a separate application. Whereas talking about the app owners, so basically when an application is created, what they will be doing, they will be going and distributing those application to the different platforms like the app store or the play store, right? So instead of doing those, they can just simply go ahead and they can go ahead and share the application URL, and the users can go ahead and access them in their mobile browser, right? So this is about the progressive web app. And in this session, we have created an application which is specifically for the mobile view, and which is specifically for the which is specifically on how you can use them in the mobile browser, right? So that is something I'll showcase now. So I'll go to the application now. So first, let me show you the portal page. So this is the portal page that the application has, which is you can see the brand logo along with the image attached in the background, and this is going to be the sign in page. Now talking about the application, this is the application. So this application has two views. Right now we are in the admin view, and then we have the mobile. So I have connected my mobile. I'll also show you how the mobile how you can access your application in the mobile browser, and how it will look in the mobile view, right? So now this application is built for the Zilker property management, where the Zilker organization maintains all the properties information. Like let's say this is an construction management company, construction company, where they will have different sort of a property they would have developed, right? So those information can be tracked and maintained within this application. So they can track their projects information, they can even have their customers database, the unit booking, the confirmation if there is any service request, configuration. These are all the different sort of modules and reports that this particular application has, right? Now let me go and show you the mobile view. So just give me a second. Yeah, so over here you can see this is my application link. So I'll just click on this link and it is directly opening in the web browser. If you could see, it opened the Chrome, right? So now within this, over here you can see the different projects that I have created and the different sort of support tickets if there is any, and the services if there will be different services that this organization could provide, right? The construction status, payments, receipts, invoices, tickets, service request, all those information. And there is any, if there is any construction update, that can be viewed here. And they can easily calculate if the customer is taking any personal loans, so they can calculate their EMI over here by using this calculator which is provided over here. You can just click on here and you can just access them. And the wish list, if there are any particular projects that you have added to your wish list, that will be shown over here, right? And there can be different site visits that the different project managers can book, right? So there might be different customers who will be coming for the site visit, so that is something can be booked by just clicking on the book now option. Below that they can see all of the projects that they have created, and here you could see different menus, right? So if I click on this project, I'll get to see the different projects based on different cities like Chennai, Mysuru, Hyderabad and the Bangalore. Then you have the AR viewer where based on a particular if you want to view a particular a particular property or a particular let's say if I would like to view the bedroom in a 3D model, so I can use my AR viewer over here. And then here comes the help where you can go ahead and choose the help board for any kind of support within the app. And the profile, so you can set up your profile, so you will have your basic information. You can have the profile image, the payment related details, service request, documents, referral, wish list, feedbacks, pending items, terms and condition, privacy policy. Even you can log out from this application, right? Now if you could see this application has all different sort of icons and image. So all these icons and image are compressed properly and all the images are rendered properly along with the different features that you could see here, right? It doesn't gives any glitches, or it is not or the images are not properly loading, or the images clarity doesn't suck. Everything that I have added in my whatever I have added in my application, all that can be easily viewed within my progressive web app, right? So like this, when you have the application's URL, you can go ahead and access them in the live, you can go ahead and access them in your mobile browser, and whatever the feature and whatever the images that you have used to build this application, all those will be automatically rendered and it will give you a app like experience in the web browser, right? Mobile browser, right? So if I show this in the web, so here I'll go to the mobile. So this is the mobile view. So even here you could see all of the different informations, right? So this is the same view that we have it over here, right? So this particular view which is specifically built for the mobile, right? So this is something that I would like to show in today's session. And also apart from this, I would also talk about the new feature release update, right? So since we have discussed about the portal page customizations, so in the first half of our year, of this particular year, we are planning to release a feature called Design Studio. So this Design Studio is going to help us in creating different UI like this. So here is a sample step that you can see. So this will help you in creating the different portal pages, portal customizations, all that can be possible within this Design Studio, right? So this is a snip that you can see, and below and within this snip you have different tabs like home, services, menu, sign up and sign in. So right now it's in the home page, then it is in the services, and you have the menu, and then the sign up page, the sign in page and the reset password. So like this, on top of Creator, you can go ahead and do all this UI level customization with the help of this Design Studio, right? And this feature is about to release in the first half of this 2020 year, right? So this is another feature that I would like to talk about in today's session. So with this, we have reached our end of the session. So if you guys have any questions, drop them in the question tab. And apart from that, I would also like to share the other upcoming other upcoming webinar informations. So we have our the same Creator Tech Connect planned for the next month, which is April. So for the April month, we are planning to cover all the the different new release updates, and that is going to happen at the same time, which is around 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. IST. If you guys are interested, you can scan this QR code and you can register for the session. And we have another webinar, which is Learning Table Series. So Learning Table Series is another webinar where we will be focusing on different industry specific use cases, where we will build an application and we will explore the application in the webinar, right? So for the month of April, we are planning to showcase the logistic industry as a solution in Creator. So that is going to happen on April 3rd around 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. IST. Again, if you guys are interested in exploring your Creator platform with an industry specific use case, then this particular session is for you guys. So you can scan this QR code and register. And also the registration link will be shared in the chat tab by my co-trainer, so you can access from there. And also I would like to talk about the another important thing, which is nothing but if you guys would like to receive the DS file of the application that we have showcased in today's session, a link will be shared in the chat tab by my co-trainer. You can access that link and you can provide your consent on receiving the DS file. If you want the DS file, you can access that URL and you can provide your consent for receiving the DS file, right? So I hope the link has been shared in the chat tab. So try to access them and share your consent. And apart from that, if you guys are interested learning more of Creator, we have a dedicated online training. So we have both stage 1 and stage 2 online training. So by using this URL or by using this QR code, you can go ahead and check out our upcoming online trainings. So where we will be having two different trainings, stage 1 and stage 2. So stage 1 is all about understanding the basic concepts in Creator, whereas the stage 2 is where we will understand all the advanced concepts. So whatever suits you, you can choose them and you can register for the online training. And at the end of the training, you will also be receiving a certification where you will have a exam, and post the exam you will be receiving the certification. So if we do not have any questions, or in case in future if you have any questions related to the training, you can reach to training@zohocreator.com, and any certification related queries you can reach to certification@zohocreator.com. And if you want any platform level support, you can reach the support@zohocreator.com, right? So thank you all once again for joining in today's webinar. So we will meet you all in our upcoming live webinar, which we have scheduled for the next month. Until then, it's bye from us, and have a great day all. Thank you. I'll be ending the session right now. Thank you all.